Suit up, strap in, warm the tires, and leave on yellow. Time for the MitsuTimes podcast. Presented by MitsuTimes.org, the home of the fastest Mitsubishi cars. With your host, Josh.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Josh from MitsuTimes. Today, my guest is Christian Lucido. He is the owner and driver of one of the most beautiful, I would say, factory stock plus. I mean, it almost looks like it could be stock 2G. He got a sweet photo that almost looks like it's about to pull the front wheels. How you doing, Christian?
Hey, Josh. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. It is an absolute honor.
Well, I appreciate it. First, I want to say thank you for everything you've done, especially over the shootout and everything. I think that these interviews are awesome. I've been given a couple I'll listen to, so thank you for the time you're putting in.
Heck yeah, man.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. So keep it up.
Appreciate
You're doing
it.
Awesome.
We got to share our story. Even the little guys need to tell their story, right?
Absolutely. It's exactly it. You know. That's.
Heck yeah. Well, all right, Christian. Why don't you tell us about the setup on your 2G?
So, well, right now we are turboless. We are hot kitless. We are in full winter mode over here in
rolling shell
Metro. Yep, in Metro Detroit area. So, no, right now, kind of as the car sits, it is on. Oh, you can get out the memes if you want. It's on jack stands. Turbo's up for sale. The hot parts kits are up for sale. We're gonna change it up a little bit.
Does that mean we're going bigger?
We are going bigger.
Yes, so, that's what we like to hear.
Yep. We are gonna go a little bit bigger. Gonna try to dip into a different manufacturer as well, turbocharger wise, but we're gonna see how it goes. I got the car prepped to pull the subframe out too, so we're gonna try to stiffen it up there with some Volk Metalcraft solid K member bushings too. So, and a manual steering rack.
Love to hear that. Maybe it won't. Maybe it won't look like it's pulling the front wheels off the ground anymore.
So, well, I call that my no prep travel. So that is what that's what somebody said. I've been rolling with it. So it does look fairly nasty in pictures. So I like how it is. We'll see what happens, though. We might have to make a couple changes eventually. I'm sure of it. But yeah, no, the car is right now. It's kind of up on. Like I said, on jack stands, it's getting ready for some upgrades, turbo kit, trying to get the safety equipment up to par as well, which has been needed. So we'll see what happens from here on out. But, yeah.
I love to hear that. I always love to hear people going in the right direction.
Yeah, well, so I've been putting it off, and it's gotten to the point where it's like, all right, you know, this has got to happen now if we want to stay with this car, and been giving that a lot of thought lately, and well, just as I said, we're going bigger turbo, so we're sticking with the car for a bit longer at least, and that means safety.
Good deal.
It's time for some safety. So
Christian, what is it that got you into the 2G DSM platform in the first place?
So my very first DSM was it was a beautiful '97 2GB, obviously Eagle Talon TSI all-wheel drive. I acquired that back in high school, actually, back in like 05.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, fell in love with it. Man, I remember taking it for first test drive. I could barely drive a 5-speed, but I kind of picked it up as I went. My aunt actually took me out to teach me in her little MR2 she had. So I kind of knew the gist of it, got in that car, took it for a quick test drive. It was all factory, and I just fell in love with it. So it was black with tan peanut butter leather interior.
Oh, nice.
Oh man, it was beautiful. It was everything that I had wanted at the time. I was coming from the 3S platform. My very first car was a '93 Stealth RT.
Wow.
It was non-turbo, so I wonder if it was a turbo car, if I would have kept in that platform or not. But it was an awesome first car to have. It was beautiful as well.
You'd have a lot less money than you have now if you did.
I know, right? Well, maybe later on in this chat, I'll tell you my plans there. But So a buddy of mine, old friend of mine down the street, when I had the Stealth, he had a 90 or 91 Eagle Talon. It was like that cherry color. And talked to him a little bit, and just I love that car. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to make a hop into the DSM world and see what this is about. This is going to be a great idea. I'm in high school. I don't know. I can change my oil, and I am a fresh slate. I don't know what to do. So picked it up. Thank God I did, because I learned so much from it. Just everything I've learned from that car and all these cars. But yeah, got into the 2G and loved it. Had a bunch of 2Gs, handful of 2Gs, had a couple 1Gs as well. Loved them too, but just kept on going back to the 2G platform. And I mean, Brian O'Connor didn't drive a 1G, did he? So
that's right.
2Gs it is.
Some would argue he didn't drive a all-wheel drive, but that's okay.
Yeah, well, he definitely didn't drive a 1G, so.
That's true. So what was this car like when you got it?
So this car had a handful of mods. I wasn't even looking for another DSM really when I came across this one.
Okay.
I was actually looking for something all-wheel drive or something really. I was looking for something rear-wheel drive. I was looking into like a 240 or 300ZX, something different. I was also looking heavily for Trans Ams. Whatever I had got my hands on, I was kind of going back and forth actually with a 2J swap or an LS back then.
Okay.
I got this car back in 2016, so it's a little while back when I was thinking about it. My buddy in Cadillac, Tom Shaw, had messaged me, said his buddy Jeremy has got a pretty clean 98 GSX that he's thinking of putting up. So it was an auto car, which I had interest in the DSM, the auto life around then too. I was building an auto car before this one, and it just never really took off. It was a red 2G. So I was starting to learn a little bit about the autos, but not too much before this car. So anyways, I think Tom sent me a couple pictures of it, got some information about it, and he's out in Cadillac, so it was like a 4 or 5 hour drive for me. So yeah, not super close, and I just said, it's for the price it was right. It had some nice modifications. It looked like a pretty good platform or slate to start from. I didn't exactly know what my goals were at the time, but drove up there. Anyways, drove up there, took a look at it, took it for a quick drive. I really liked it. Figured, all right, we're going to run with this. So put a down payment on, came home a couple of weeks later, went back up for a little friend's trip to meet Tom up and hang out and then drive this GSX home. So the GSX made the 5 hour trip home,
Wow.
Right and dirty. I didn't have end plates, nothing. We just went straight home. As soon as I pulled up, this is the first time I'm driving an auto car, and I'm pretty sure, I want to say the auto temp gauge came on. As soon as I was pulling up to the house I was living in, I just laughed. I was like, all right, this isn't any different from where I left off, right? This car's already starting up. So, anyways. But tore into it, tried to fix as much stuff as I could. I came across a lot of stuff that needed attention. I don't know how it made the drive home. When I took the fuel pump out, I think it was a 450, but in the 2Gs, some of the guys cut off the top of the barbs to fit it in the OEM hanger and everything. Yeah. And this had all the barbs cut off. There was maybe a quarter of an inch of the the output of this fuel pump, and I don't know how the hose would stay clamped on. But as soon as I touched it, it fell off.
Oh my!
This is after a 5 hour drive. I'm like, oh my gosh! Anyways, so there was a lot of stuff that I had gone through, got it up to par, and yeah, it was a lot from the beginning to now. It was a lot. I don't think that there's anything on the car that hasn't been touched by me yet. So. Anyways, that's the story of this car. I held on to it so far, and again, I've been learning a lot, using it as a platform to learn on. I've learned the most about these auto transes from this car.
Yeah.
So
What's the paint code on that car, Christian? I feel like you never see that color.
it is A87, so it is the magenta gray pearl. I can't think of the actual name off the top of my head, but beautiful color. I mean, fortunately, the top is faded a little bit since I bought it, but at this point, this car gets beat up left and right from going up and down trailers. I mean, it just kind of is what it is. It still looks great in pictures, which is all I care about. Like, yeah, see, it's pulling off the wheels. Look how great that paint looks. Then you walk up to it, and then it's like, oh, it is still fairly clean, but not what you think in the pictures. If you want to see a super clean one, go up to Steve. His 2G is beautiful. So
Then
Toretto.
You see somebody post a picture of it online. You're like, whose car is that?
Oh yeah. So, anyways, yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. It's been a great learning experience. I'm happy I held on to this car. And
Me too.
see what happens.
So when you first picked this car up, did you have any goals with it after owning so many DSMs over the years?
So, God, I'm trying to think back. Like, what was that goal? I knew at one point I wanted to make it like a bracket car, a consistent bracket. Well, I guess more so index these days, but like a 1050 index car.
Okay.
I wanted something that would be, mid tens, just have a ball to drive around the street and everything, and that's what the goal was. I don't know. Goals are, I guess, meant to be met and then exceeded, I guess, for me, because it didn't stay that very long.
That's okay, though. That just means it went faster.
Yeah, we did. So here we are now, trying to go even faster.
So what different setups have you had on it over the years? Which ones have really worked out for you that you would recommend to other people?
So I've had a lot of Force Performance turbos, I feel like. Almost the whole lineup, except for the green, I feel like they're newer reds and stuff like that, blacks. But I guess like one of the first setups was the stock 7-bolt bottom end. It was not like a numbers matching block or anything. It was like an early 2G block, I think. But so I guess I'll count it. The CX Racing 20G that came with the car. I ran that
There you go.
for a little bit. So, kind of actually had some fun with it. So it wasn't terrible. It's still hanging up. It's like up in my garage right now on display. So the CX Racing 20G, people are probably going to get a laugh at that. But from there, I went to FP Red. Love that.
That's
Didn't
a big
have
jump.
too much. Yeah, it is. I don't know what I was thinking there. I think I don't know what I was thinking there, to be honest with you. I think I just wanted something other than the J pipe type style turbos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So got into a red. I liked it. I had a bunch of misfiring issues that took about 1.5 years, 2 years to find out. And what it turned out to be was it was just the OEM fuel tank in the 2Gs, the placement of the hanger at the front, and then you got that saddle tank. I had to have the thing literally topped off for it not to misfire.
No kidding.
So yeah, I'm thinking that just the fuel going back. I don't know. I still don't know, but I had to have it top off. At that point, I didn't know it was that. I thought maybe just things aren't working out. I'm gonna switch some things up. I sold the red, and then I actually downgraded to a 68 HTA, I guess a V2.
Okay.
Had some fun with that as well. Still, that problem persisted. That's when I really realized, like, hey, you have to have a full tank of fuel for this thing to do anything without this misfire. So ended up throwing a rod, I think number 3, or it was 4. I think it was number 4. Threw a rod at some point. Got a stock 6-bolt together just to get the car up and running. Did just that, kind of had some fun with it. Didn't really race it there. Ended up finding a built short block from Charles Briggs, actually.
Oh, nice.
He
Mr.
had yes, Mr. Barra. So I actually ran that block for a while, and it was what was it? Eagle Rod, Mally. I never know if I'm saying the brand name right, but the piston was a Mally piston, 2-liter. Got an FP Black on there. That's when I really found out I need a full tank of fuel to race without that misfire. So the Black I loved. That was probably my favorite turbo so far. It was a workhorse. I put material, I think a spark plug strap through it. It survived. I had that thing running, 33, 34 pounds of boost. I mean, I raced multiple events on it. That thing never missed a beat, took it off. It was like no shaft play. The thing was just rock solid. So I had the most fun with that. That block that I got from Briggs held up really well. I mean, I'm going to say like two, 3 years of just beating the absolute crap out of it. So that was with some S2s, the 2G head at that point. That's actually the setup that I went 9s with.
Okay.
So, yeah. And then I went from the Black to the 0. Liked that. It wasn't as much of a jump as I wanted. And I knew, actually, I hurt the motor. One of the pistons started to fail a little bit. Like, it's really weird to explain. The dish started to, I guess, warp downward.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it was really weird. I couldn't get on 2-step. The last event on that motor, I couldn't get on the 2-step. I was going up against a buddy's GTR. He absolutely whooped my butt. I mean, I couldn't get out of the hole or anything. Things were just not feeling right, and that's when I called it quits for that season. Developed a really weird knock too. Sounded like rod knock for a split second, then it would kind of go away. It ended up being all the bolts, the crank bolts backed out.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, chewed that crank up pretty good. Not happy about that. I just had that trans off not too long ago, I feel like, and I should have checked all that out. So, and I always mark those bolts. So just that little hack there. If you got those bolts tightened down, torqued down, take a little paint pen and mark that against your plate and everything. So as soon as I took that trans off and I saw all the marks every mark was off. So they all 6 had backed out. So yeah, I thought that was the issue. Turns out I ripped into it more. That's when I found the piston and I go, all right, well, if we want to do more speed here, this block has got to get, fixed right, and we're going to have to go a little bit bigger turbo because the 0 just wasn't the jump I was looking for from the Black. There still was a jump, just not what I wanted. So went to Tyler over at Force Engineering. Awesome place, man. Awesome dude. He knows so much stuff. He's been in the DSM game for a really long time. I think he's big in that Coyote stuff now. So, anyways, I took him my block. He hooked it up with the block. I took him I switched to a 1G head. He did the head up. So basically, I had him assemble the block and everything. Basically, all I did was slap the head on, throw the cams in, timing, all the accessories and everything, and then that's the motor that I'm using. It's still a 2-liter wet block with R&R aluminum rods, solid rods. The Wiseco piston, 1G head, still have those same S2s I've been running for years. Then I went with the Zona rotor, 5969S, badass turbo. I mean, Morrison Racing large runner exhaust manifold. Went to the Magnus the 1G, the V3, and that's kind of where the car has last been. Still on ECM link.
Wow.
Still rocking that ECM link, man. So there's a couple things I really wish I had capability of, but I don't right now. Eventually that might change. We'll see what the next setup does and what I need, but so we started cranking it up on the 9569S. Went 911 is the best at the shootout. Best trap was 149, so we were not able to hold boost. I think there was something going on with either the wastegate or possibly the boost control. But I really think it had 8s in it. Little keyboard warrior thing. I think it had 8s, and I think it had 150s in it for sure. I mean, that was still full interior and everything. The HVAC system was all out, and I tried to strip as much out as possible. But to fit the Street Eliminator class, I made sure I refitted all the interior panels and stuff.
Beautiful.
So had some, still had some weight in there. But anyways, yeah, that's kind of like where it left off. So had a blast with it. This has been a really fun setup for track.
Yeah.
Not so much anymore for street, I tell everybody. I get anxious driving this thing now. Like, it's not the fact that, is it going to get me from A to B? I don't drive it on street much anymore anyways, but it's like, I don't know what it is. I think it's going to the side exit, exhaust. It's just a lot going on now.
I tell people who are thinking about going to a side exit, it wears you out, like mentally and physically.
It really does. I mean, I was rocking a full exhaust, went to like a 3.5-inch aluminum, and that was loud. That was a really loud jump from honestly, just like, I don't even know what exhaust came on it before. It was like a eBay brand or whatever, but it was a lot quieter than the aluminum. And then going from the aluminum to the side exit, it was like, man, like, I don't know what to think right now. I should not even be driving this thing, I feel like. But that's where we're at. So I guess I just got to man up a little bit and get in that driver's seat.
you don't get the full pain of it until there's a wall on your left side and you kind of get on it for a second. You're like, God, it's loud.
Yeah, and the last event I was at, I was in actually left lane for both passes. Every time, each pass, I had somebody different come up to me that was on the left wall, and they said, that car is ridiculously loud. I look at it and go, I know.
Trust
I know,
me.
man.
Yeah. So, Christian, with all those different setups and, kind of all that you've gone through and the learning that all the knowledge that you've learned over the years, do you think that you would still go from where you are now or where you started to where you are now the same way?
I would. So, yes, I would, because, I've had some successes. I've had a lot more failures than I had successes, and that's how I learned. I mean, successes are great and all, but I view failures as a time to learn. So, I mean, the last huge thing that I've really learned is aside from the valve body, I recently just put this whole transmission together.
Wow.
I've been doing bits and pieces of it here and there. I've gone as far as swapping out the front output shaft and stuff like that, and doing all the clutches and whatnot. I've made it up to the center support, and then we had the failure on the dyno before the start of this season, I guess. So it kind of forced me. I was like, all right, this is just one example, right? Like, I've had a bunch of these failures with this car, but kind of going through the whole transmission and really learning it there's still a lot of that I need to learn, but learning it enough to be able to put it together and then having this thing survive, the shootout and an event and survive for the power that's going through it. I wouldn't want to do it over, because I wouldn't want to buy something that I did not learn that from, because it's in this kind of stuff. Like, I can't afford to keep on having, I guess, shops keep on building stuff like this. I can't, financially, I can't afford it. So I've got to learn it myself. And I've picked one thing, like try to learn drivetrain or try to learn, putting a great motor together. I don't have the machines to build a motor or anything like that. So I'm going to trust Tyler over there, which is doing a great job. And then I'm gonna choose drivetrain. So this is something that I want to learn. If I had bought something that didn't give me that opportunity to learn, then if it failed, mid-season, then I'd be done.
Right.
Whereas now, if that thing fails, I've been through it once before. I'll pull it out, I'll tear it down, I'll figure out what's going on, and then I'll get it back together so I can get back out there. But no, I wouldn't want to do it, honestly. And all the awesome nights I've had with friends hanging out and working on the thing, it's like, I wouldn't want to do it over. Well, I wouldn't want to do it a different way.
Yeah.
I think this is perfectly fine. It's a hobby. It's something that I get out there, wrench on. I don't wrench on as much as I used to. That's just, family and stuff like that, family obligations. And no, I wouldn't change it for the world.
So even though
Sometimes,
some of those lessons were hard learned, they were worth it.
yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I want you to ask me the same question when I'm on a 25-degree slab of concrete trying to get my fingers on the transfer case bolt up there. But
When you're
I might have a
you're
I might have a
resting the
different answer
transmission
there.
on your chest.
Gosh, oh, you can even survive with these auto transmissions. These things are absolute units.
Yep.
They are so heavy. But anyways, I'm sure you get a different answer if you ask me at a time like that.
So what is it about this car that motivates you to put up with those long nights, to deal with the setbacks and not just part it out and move on to a different platform?
I don't know. I'm too far deep in it now. No, honestly, right now it's the racing.
Yeah.
It's the racing. I'm enjoying the racing so much. The racing is the cherry on top of everything. There's so much more that's beneath it, obviously. But I do it all to get the car out on the track. When I'm usually at the track, I'm not by myself. It's usually like a team effort. I usually have my friends out there, my brother. And that right there makes it all worth it. All the hours on the ground, getting whatever in your face, rust falling in your face, oil falling in your face, coolant, whatever it is, throwing the wrench across the garage and not being able to find it, all the F-bombs, everything. It's like, all right, now I'm at the track. Now it's the shootout. Now it's a whole weekend of this. And I can't get rid of it yet. So, eventually someday the racing is going to be done. And once the racing is done for me, it might be time to part ways with it. Yeah. But, right now I'm still having too much fun with the racing. So
good deal.
This episode of the MitsuTimes podcast is brought to you by Action Clutch. You'll find Action Clutches in vehicles of all power levels, from stock cars to grassroots racers, all the way up to 1,000 plus horsepower drag cars. They offer 8 different stages, from Kevlar Copper Organic all the way to triple and double clutch kits. All Action Clutches have been handmade in LA by hand for the last 60 years. Check out all their products they have to offer at actionclutch.com.
So what are your goals for 2024 with this new setup?
Right now, just to get the stuff paid off and installed and get the car up and running with the new turbo setup. The goal of getting the car to the dyno, getting it tuned, getting it ready for whatever track day comes up. That's like one phase of this whole thing in my mind. I got a bunch of phases. I'm weird, but one of the phases is get it like, all right, I'd be comfortable hopping in that car, turn the key, it's going to fire up, and I'm going to rely on this thing enough to get down the track. So That's the first phase. Second phase is like, well, no. That's one of the phases. Another one is, get the safety equipment up to speed. Like I said earlier, that's a goal. Like that's a goal for me this year. It's another thing that's pretty, financially it's up there in price and it's worth every penny, and it's made a goal for me. So that is a goal. Eventually, try to get it up and running to the point where I can go to the shootout, and that's really my goal for the year. Is get the car back up and running on the new setup, get the power down, get a cage, get the safety stuff going, and then go from there.
Yeah. Good deal. Are you going to dyno it at Force Engineering?
Actually, I got a buddy of mine, really, really close friend I've known forever, and I rent dyno time locally here.
Okay.
And cool. we strap on here and we get this car straightened out there. So it's A-Star Fabrication in Pontiac, Michigan, if anybody's wondering. So Andy over there, Andy McPherson. Yep, he awesome dude. Love the shop. Love the dude. I mean, wealth of knowledge. The guy's got some badass stuff over there too. So yeah, anybody listening, go check him out, man. He's got some cool stuff. That Barra Mustang, Briggs's Barra Mustang came out of there pretty much, and them two together hammering stuff out and getting that car where it's at right now. So that's just one item to showcase of what they're doing over there, right?
Wow. So, they got some cool. They must have some really cool stuff coming out of there. A big variety, anyways, huh?
Well, I think they got the only I guess DSM type 4G 6.3 with an auto and an Evo over there.
Yeah.
Marco's Evo, and then Andy's Evo is badass looking, all the fab work and everything. So yeah, no, they've got some really cool stuff coming out of that shop. So
Well, good. So what would you say are your long-term goals with this car, Christian?
I guess, man, I'd love to have a car that I know it's got 850s in it, without running a turbo dry. I think that's like a quarter-mile goal of mine is to get anywhere in the eights, but then start really working down to 850s. So, honestly, but more importantly, I need the car to be consistent. And, the type of racing I'm doing, it's about all racing is basically stay as consistent as possible, right? So
Right.
I need to be consistent, as reliable as possible. Most of the racing I do is that, the no prep or whatever, that stuff, or low prep, whatever you want to call it, the arm drop or flashlight start, stuff like that. So I just need to know that this thing is going to get down that 8th mile. So that's kind of my goal right there for this car right now.
Good deal.
Mm-hmm.
So, Christian, with everything that you've learned over the years, what advice would you give somebody who's looking to, get their 2G into the nines so that they don't make some of the mistakes or waste some of the money that you may have wasted over the years?
So, well, first, make sure you have a good, safe foundation to build on. So, definitely make sure all your maintenance items are up to par. You don't want to be trying to go for a 9-second pass with, busted out bushings all in the rear end and something go haywire there. So make sure you're trying to be safe with this. I'd also say try your best to identify your goals. I guess you could say current goals, and then and stick with it. I see a lot of people start a project with a really great goal in mind, and then, they just end up scrapping it, or they start going in different directions with, I can't really give an example, but, either it's, I think I found a better chassis or whatever it might be. Then they drop that car and then they'll go move on to something else with like the same goal in mind. So honestly, try to stick with what you got and build on that and keep on building on that same foundation. Because once you kind of hop over into something different, I mean, you're kind of starting over again from scratch.
Right.
So I've had, suggestions of, hey, jump in this chassis, and move over to this. And it's like, all right, that's too many changes. Like, I'm going to keep on doing what I'm doing here because, we're not failing, but we'll keep on getting better. So just stick with it. That's pretty much it. I mean, make sure you're ready too, right? Like, make sure you're ready to spend that time away from family and stuff like that. Cause it's not like you're out in the garage for 15, 20 minutes, a week to put stuff together. Right. I mean, you're spending some time out there. So yeah, that's probably what I would say, is to identify your goals and just stick with it.
Don't make your goals crazy. You don't want to take down the Red Demon, even though you've never ran a 12 before.
There you go. So like I said, I'll hit a goal. I have a goal set. I'll hit it, and then I'll think about moving on to the next goal. It's just steps. So yeah, I'm not coming for the Red Demon. That's for sure.
So you talked about some of your earlier DSMs. Is there any in particular that you want to talk about that maybe stood out, kind of like your current gray car?
You know what? No, because some of them a buddy of mine would buy, kind of fix up, and then we would flip them.
Yeah.
This is going way back though. But no, honestly, just my first one I got started, the '97 black car. I mean, that was when SAFC and RC 550s, a Walbro 255. Oh yeah, the Palm Pilots. Wideband what? I don't even know. I don't even know how that car survived. It was going lower 12s on 93 and an Evo 316G. So, yeah, I mean, that car was awesome. Oh, and of course, I got to mention, it had my favorite of all time exhaust for these cars is a thermal R&D exhaust. So I have always loved the thermals. They are heavy. They are heavy things, but I love those things. But no, other than that, I mean, there's then that car, and then the ones in between, and then this one.
All right. Well, I know I didn't prep you for this, but let's talk about the LTA Racing, the Los Tres Amigos family.
I was gonna ask if we could probably have the boys jump on to a different one.
Yeah, for sure.
But I will briefly touch on it, and then maybe we can have everybody hop on that, because that's our crew right there, man. So they are there to help me, support me, racing. When Scott Frazo was doing his racing, we're all there supporting him and everything. Pablo had a K-swapped MR2. He raced a couple times. We were there. Paul's always there giving us support. Gosh, how did it start? It was just honestly, I don't even know how it started. It was just a joke at the track one year. Scott had the black onesie, and I have no idea how we came up with Los Tres Amigos right now, but we rolled with it, and people started kind of catching on, which I didn't even know what this was. I was like, all right, yeah, that's us, man. It's LTA, whatever. So we're just having fun with it. But yeah, no, it's honestly, it's a group of three really great friends that have supported each other and everybody's, racing endeavors, car endeavors, even personal life. I mean, we're there for each other. We're really good friends, and yeah, that's kind of a little bit of what LTA is. So let's save the rest.
Okay. Well,
all right.
I gotta give a shout out to you guys for making an impact on the 20K. If you're listening to this and you don't know about the 20K pot, basically, in summary, what happened was this year. Well, I guess by the time this goes out, it'll be last year. We raised $20,000, and a lot of it was, it wasn't big companies. It was guys like the LTAs and the DSM Alleys and people like that who donated money, and we put it together and we gave it to the winner of the shootout quick class. And I really think it was what made the shootout what it was last year.
100%. 100%.
And it was cool to. Cool's not even the right word. It was amazing to experience, what breathing new life into an event that we all love.
Absolutely. I mean, it was amazing. You guys single-handedly made it possible to have a payout for the quick class that would attract some of the faster guys, and also encourage others to jump in on that class. And not just that class. I mean, you saw social media light up, absolutely light up. Before the shootout, people were talking about it. You don't see that. In my personal opinion, the promoter there's not too much going on there. So this was getting the flame rolling before the shootout.
It was.
I told my friends, like, you got to go. Like my buddy Stringer, he hasn't gone in years, and we got his ass to go. We're like, you gotta go this shootout, dude. This is gonna be some epic racing and everything, and it was. Yeah. It was a blast. So this past shootout was probably my favorite one by far, to be honest with you.
Not the outcome that we wanted, but we'll get them. We'll get them again next year.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta give those guys props, man. That was a fast truck, consistent, absolutely. So hats off to them. We just give it another crack at it this year or next year. So
can't wait. I'm more excited for the shootout than ever, honestly, after the way 2023 went.
Oh yeah. And we had a really cool setup. So
just a real quick shout out. They haven't been released yet. Hopefully they're released by the time this freaking episode comes out. 6th through the 8th of September. 6th through the 8th of September. Summit Motorsports Park, Shootout 2024, 31st anniversary. You have to be there. No ifs, ands, buts, no excuses, no weddings. Cancel your wedding. No family reunions, nothing like that.
Or have it there.
There you go. Bring your family. There's Cedar Point or something close by, I know. Do that.
Yep, they got Kalahari too. So there's other things you can do. But
it was a bit nuts.
Well, yeah, no, exactly though. I agree. Get there.
Yep.
Get there. Let's get the spectator count up next.
Yep.
So.
Well, Christian, that kind of rolls us perfectly into the next question. Let's talk about your 2024 event calendar. I know the car's in pieces, and even if you want to go to a race in February, it's kind of up in the air.
Some of these no prep guys are crazy. I want to count them out. They were just taking pictures of all their freaking Mustangs with chains on the back or whatever, thinking about getting out there. I swear it was funny. It was really funny looking, but no, I guess plans for 2024, definitely shootout. So that is pretty much always on my top priority list. Yeah. So shootout, get to the shootout, car or not, doesn't matter. But obviously, I plan on attending with the car. But shootout, and then just my local events. I've got Detroit Hood TV puts on their PYOP events at Milan.
Yep.
So it's a back end race. All-wheel drive is allowed in small tire as long as you're running a smaller tread width of 8 inches or less.
Okay.
So they're okaying all-wheel drive. That's an event that I've been going to actually for years now. I was running their hard tire years back, but small tire it is now. So they outlawed all-wheel drive in the hard tire, which I get that. So. Not much of I'm never really going to give much of a stink about this stuff, but go to their events. They have one a month, so I'd love to get to 2 or 3 of those in 2000, next year. And then also another group of guys, Underdog Car Meets or UCM. They have some backside track events as well at Lapeer Dragway, so. I'd like to get into a couple of those. I went to my first one last year or this past season, and that was the last event that I took the car to in 2023. Awesome event. I had a blast. I got my first small tire win, which was a goal of mine. A goal of mine was to hit a certain 8th mile ET. I did that at the shootout, and then the goal was to take one small tire win. I don't even care what I raced because that's chip draw stuff. You could race the fastest guy, whatever it is. So had a good race. Got my first win, small tire. That completed my goals for 2023. And then who else could say this? Like I got to race Johnny Quick. So after that, he needs to change his name to friggin' Johnny Fast, man. I mean, he ran out of my life. So, but still, where can I say that? Who can say that?
Right.
Like they got to race him. So that was an absolute blast. Still had a blast. That might be another reason why I'm going a little bigger turbo, but anyways. But those are the goals. So shootout, bunch of local, no prep stuff, or low prep, no prep, whatever people want to call it. So.
Yeah. Well, obviously the shootout is my favorite event, but I'm trying to make it a habit to get this on people's radar because I want to see more cars there. Is World Cup in your future goals, maybe?
I'm not going to say no. Right now with the changes, I don't think I will fit a class very well.
Yeah.
With the turbo coming out.
6470 for DSM, yeah.
Yeah, so I will not fit that. But that doesn't mean that, in the future I can't switch between stuff. So right now, I think between safety and where I need to get this car to do something like that, probably not 2023, but again, I'm never going to just rule something out. So.
Right.
A little hard to, because isn't that around Halloween?
Yes. For 2024, it is the 30th through the 3rd.
Okay, so, well, one thing about me, I've got 2 kids, wife here, and and family's huge. Like right now, it'd be hard for me to miss stuff like that.
Right, for sure.
But that's gonna wear out when they get older and they don't want anything to do with me anyway. So, possibly in the future.
Good
I'm not
deal.
gonna rule it out.
Good deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I care about. Just because I want to see some more Mitsubishis there.
Right on.
I want people to know that we're still out there doing it.
Absolutely.
And if they won't come to the shootout, we'll come to them.
Hey man, we are still doing it. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff still out there being developed. So I'll kind of hit on that on the last part here, but yeah, we're still definitely out there.
Heck yeah. Well, Christian, where can people find and follow you on social media so that people can see this sweet picture of you almost pulling the front tires off?
I'm mainly just on Facebook. I don't have an Instagram anymore, so just kind of look me up on Facebook. That's kind of where I'll do any kind of real-time updates too, or any kind of silly little LTA stuff or whatnot. But hit me up on Facebook. I also do keep a build log on DSM Tuners, and you can kind of see really the story that this car has been through. Pictures of all the different setups, my plans throughout the whole thing, the races. I try to document all the races and the events that I go to. So it's not just a build page, really. It's more of like a build and diary of what this car has been through. So definitely DSM Tuners, get on there. And if you don't have a DSM Tuners username, get a name and start contributing again, because I'd love to see the forums come back a little bit.
And a PSA,
just such a
PSA if you're listening real quick, Christian.
Mm-hmm.
If you are about to ask a question on Facebook, please check Tuners first.
Yes. You know what? I'm guilty of it too, though. So I'm not going to sit here and say yes. Like, I'm guilty of it too.
Because I want the quick answer, but
yeah.
We sometimes on Facebook we get the same question 10 times a day.
Yes, yeah. So and there'll be things where it's like, oh, somebody asked something that I saw a couple times within the past month, and then it's on Tuners, right? Like, I mean, Tuners is such a great resource. There's another thing to go back to your question of what would you tell somebody trying to get into this? Go on the forum, go hop on the forum and read all those. I mean, that's really where it started for me too. Back in high school, not knowing anything, is hopping on the forum, dude. Literally nights and hours spent going through stuff and seeing other people's stuff and learning and reading. So
someone that has the same goals as you has put that out there on Tuners and achieved their goal and told you how to do it.
Yeah, exactly. So at least it should give you a great platform to start from. So but yeah, so Facebook or DSM Tuners.
Heck yeah. Well, Christian, at the end, I always give people a chance to give a thank you or a shout out to anybody who's helped them along the way, anybody who's helped them get their car where it is. You're sitting at number 19 on the 2G list. I mean, that's a pretty big achievement. Is there anybody that you want to give thanks to?
Yeah, first I want to thank my wife, Francesca. I mean, the time I'm in the garage, is time away from my family, as I said earlier. I'm a pretty big family guy. I hate being away from them. I don't spend nearly as much time as I used to in the garage, but when I do get out there, to start and finish a project, it takes up a ton of valuable time. So for her putting up with that and putting up with, weekends away at the shootout or whatever it might be, or grabbing parts runs, whatever it is, I want to say thank you to her. Secondly are all my good friends, who have a hand in this car. It's not just me. My buddy Jason Stringer, also known as Stringer Power Bro. He's the one that does the heavy hitting on the tuning. Scott Frazo, obviously, for the fab work and, launch strategy and kind of throwing ideas at me on where to maybe go next. And thank you to him, to Paul Enriquez. So that's the LTA crew right there. All the support anybody can ask for. I'll tell you what, if you see a video of either my car or Scott's going down the track, I can almost guarantee it's going to follow up with Paul and freaking Enriquez screaming his ass off, cheering for us. So, and dancing around or whatever it might be. So that's the kind of support that, is just, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's really brought us together. It's just so much more than some car friends, it's, sorry, my phone is going off right now. Good. So, anyways, it's just so much more than just car friends. It's really, really good friends built for years. My brother, he's also lent a helping hand at a handful of shootouts now. So he's there, from start to finish. We're there packing up on Sunday night when the lights are about to shut off on us in the parking lot. He's there trying to get this thing strapped down with me and everything. So, thanks to him. His name is Michael. And honestly, there's just so many people that have given advice and put along the way. So thank you to all you guys. And I also want to give a shout out and thank you to, all those who are out there still making parts for the platform. I just want to mention a couple guys out there, shops out there, Brian Bamos, he's making some awesome products still. I mean, the stuff that he has is absolutely beautiful. I was telling you about my fuel tank having issues with that misfire earlier in the conversation. And his fuel tank, his Bolton 2G fuel tank was the fix to that. So completely fixed it, went to the rear sump and everything, external fuel pump. Never had those misfires again. I was able to move forward with my goals and, start cranking out and going faster and faster. Shed weight, open up space underneath. I mean, and those catch pans that he has are just absolutely gorgeous. I've seen pictures of people posting them up. I run a handful of Brian's products, so thank you to him. Kigley Racing, I think I have the whole Kigley Racing catalog in the car. So thank you to him. Morrison Fabrications, their exhaust manifolds, their whole fab catalog is second to none. So that's on the new build coming up. I'm going from a stock placement, large runner V-band manifold to a top mount consolidated T4. Can't wait to get my hands on that. It's going to be a work of art. Their stuff always is. And they're just such huge fans of the community. So thank you to them. Aaron Gregory, AGR, he's building transmissions. He's killing it for us. I mean, he's doing such a great. Obviously, it's a big deal when Aaron's going out racing. Everybody, the internet's watching him. So, all the stuff that he's posting, looks like he's going to do a transpan possibly. I mean, he's developing stuff. So, thank you to him. DTR, Darren Thomas Racing, they're building transmissions. John at IPT, he's still doing DSM stuff. He just put out a video. There was a lot of talk about planetary failure and stuff. He literally just whipped together a video trying to show people how to check and replace a bushing. It's been a really long time since he did any DSM videos, and he saw this conversation going on, and he hops on and tries to help. So big shout out to IPT. Warren and the Anti-Lag Racing crew, I mean, they're putting out awesome stuff. I got a Sparkiapula at the shootout finally. I love the thing. So also shout out to, Chris Weimer, Absolute Performance. Right now he's currently in production with a new billet rear drum for the auto guys. So stuff like that, there's a Jeff Bush unit out there. Some people were having a really hard time getting their hands on one. Yeah. Chris is coming out with another option. This one's going to be able to rock an OEM spec stack clutches in there. That's huge for him to step up and engineer a new rear drum and everything for us. So that's one of the examples of, hey, we're still here. Like, we still got parts in the making, right? I mean, huge. Circle D is coming out with a converter. Yep. They're in development right now for a new torque converter for us guys. I mean, that's huge. So that's going to go a long way. Those guys at first said, hey, everybody get in on this Circle D converter buying if you can, because this could pave the way for other parts. Well, this rear drum came after the Circle D thing. So, I think they were onto something there. Absolutely. So as long as we're still out there developing parts and everything, I know we have some planetary stuff going on. I know that there's a couple things in the works right now. I really can't go into too much detail there, but I got some gear sent out to overseas actually to have them looked at, some OEM gear. So I also think that there was something posted on annular gear, straight cut annular gear, the ring gear. So that was posted not too long ago. So, hey, there might be something in the works there for our planetaries. But, it just shows, like, all these people are still going after it. And I want to thank everybody for that, right? Because without the development still going on, this platform would probably shrivel out pretty quickly.
For sure.
But no, Josh, I want to thank you and everybody that put together the 20K payout and everything like that, and got the fire burning for the last shootout. And I know it's gonna keep rolling to the next one. So thank you for getting everybody out here and telling their story.
Big shout out to Dan from EvoSpec for tag teaming with me on that.
Dan, yep, you and Dan. So thank you guys.
And I want to go back to what you were saying, Christian. I know Brian doesn't sponsor the site. This isn't a paid advertisement, but if you plan to race at the shootout, please buy one of Brian's catch pans so we're not just watching the tractor go back and forth. Please, 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 please. They're not expensive. Just pick one up.
Absolutely. Pick it up.
Hit up Brian.
Do it.
You got plenty of time.
Yep.
I want to see cars go down the track, not a tractor.
Exactly. I really hope that the PureTech kind of steps up a little bit.
Yep.
Because there are classes that require them, and I just saw one or two people that may not have had them.
Right. Or the diaper was some fiberglass cloth. Yep.
Yeah. So I hope that we kind of look into that a little bit more. Yep. I mean, I think World Cup final, it's mandatory, right? So
yes.
We might have to take a step in that direction.
Yep.
Anyways, just a suggestion for whoever may be listening.
Yeah, for sure. Christian, thank you so much for taking the time to come on here and share your story. I can't wait to get all the LTA guys together and get another one. I think that maybe we should do that when we announce our 2024 shootout pot plans. And I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, I will. I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you at the track.
Sounds good. Thank you again.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for listening to the MitsuTimes podcast. Check out our Instagram and Facebook for daily updates. Get added to our list by going to MitsuTimes.org and clicking Submit a Slip. Thank you to all of our sponsors.